Through the ashes of one's addiction, all can rise, all can fall. Many can cry, many will die. But only the addiction will thrive. Twilight slammed the door and locked herself inside the bathroom. Spike's crude and demanding shouts had all but stopped. A big bellow of grunting worked its way into the cracks of the wood and weaved through the bathroom. She heard the loud outcry of frustration venting from the top of Spike's puny lungs. Bad moments like these ones are some things that Twilight would have hated to witness. She scruffed her mane over her eyes and grinned in dark horror from the commotion across the other side of the house. She focused on her breathing and counted how many exhales per minute. She clocked in at 22, averaging every minute. It was a relatively decent sign that she was doing much better than most days. Twilight ventured into the darkest part of her mind and further faded through the cold abyss. They don't know what I go through. They don't know what stress I'm geared for every single fucking day. The pain thickens. The blood boils with pure, indefinite mana, pumping with anticipation. The inches scrape away at the base of my bones, and the bugs now crawl beneath my skin. I want to just float away, but I'm not like that. I'm not like some pony like Fluttershy or Rainbow Dash and her friends. I can't just flutter away over the sky with glee and happiness. But yet, I got something they don't own. Yes, I got something they will never take away from me. I have that one magic that my own horn can't learn, even with trial and error taking any shape or form. No pony, or nothing, could learn this bitter, ecstatic love affair that literally pleaded the veins of my arms to pop. I have it. And now I crave it. Tartarus, even learning the new spells, isn't on top of my priorities anymore. Talking in my head is a lot more humble than Spike lashing out at me again. I can still hear him grumbling something about me needing help. Something about rehabilitation? Confusing to him it must seem. Because I still feel like I own this world, Tartarus. Even owing Celestia my years of work doesn't feel accomplishing anymore. I wonder what my brother is doing. Probably doing the same thing at Canterlot. Having to control the Royal Guard isn't a simplistic task for any pony. Whatever. He won't find out either. Twilight Sparkle then firmly planted her rump on the toilet seat of the bathroom. She looked down at her lifeless forelegs. They were getting slimmer than ever. She knew deep down that she wasn't big as some pony like Pinkie Pie, who clocked in at over 200 pounds. While averagely, Twilight's consumption of food cued her at a mere 185 pounds. But that was all last year. Twilight had now weighed under 145 pounds, and she only had been basking herself in her new love of life for over 4 months in isolation. Her friends had asked her, on more than one occasion, if she was on a diet plan, or was hiding something from them. Cautiously, she always replied with a stern, "No," to that question of curiosity. They would then choke up, get nervous, or act out their usual antics when facing the fire of embarrassing situations. It didn't make Twilight any happier than inducing more of her ecstasy of gold when she would write them off as weak links in her head, then race back to her house to be in seclusion. It wasn't until recently that she had isolated herself from all forms of life and fed off the scent of abandonment. As the days lofted by, her friends slowly realized that she was growing more distant. Soon, she wouldn't even visit them, or come to their monthly get-togethers anymore. As futile as they were, no pony had decided to come talk to her yet. Not that they had things to discuss, but Twilight has been popping into their heads more often than not since she stopped communicating with them. She glanced at her forelegs once more. there were scabs that blistered with endless scratching and biting that had never truly healed. Some things changed, while more things stayed the same. Her violet-colored eyes looked more shocked, but actually she was delighted to see only 3 punctured skin marks, rather than 5 from last week. Twilight turned over and picked up a small black leather casing resting beside her hoof. She snatched it with hostility and excitement. Her thoughts now were getting more delirious and deranged with the upbringings of her new idea of fun. Her way of escape and being free, it was also the way of death if one wasn't careful with their opportunities. She shook furiously as she fumbled with the case, trying to break it open. Her legs trembled in fear as she imagined something or some pony scratching at the bathroom door to attack and steal the addiction's curse away from her. Giddy with the idea of feeling that warm, sweet liquid rushing through her body, she went from lightning quick to frantically insane, trying to open that little zipper, to unleash the contents of the black leathered case. She had gotten the neat little thing a while back when she had first started getting into the game. Her consciousness told her it was the right choice when she found herself at one of the many shops in Ponyville to ask for prices of metal casings. She was greeted with a blacked-out leather case that spoke no further than the moral importance of this particular object. Her mouth dried faster than a hot desert. She handed the shopkeeper 10 bits, but he demanded 15. Twilight rolled her eyes and forked out 5 more golden bits, before slapping them on the table and leaving without saying a simple goodbye. Since then, it was the very thing keeping her delicate contents intact and away from the snarling Spike, who seemed more bent out of shape than herself sometimes. Twilight finally condemned the case into submission and unreeled the zipper to her waiting eyes, which made her resort to her last task, preparing for the event. She placed the leather casing softly over her curved legs, resting on her lap. She then unraveled the contents over herself, piece by piece. First she took out the rubber tubing and nestled it over her lap. Looking, though, she pulled another piece of destruction. A syringe. This uncanny piece marveled her. It would cut out all signs of ugly and replace it with a sickness, flowing through her hollow shell with ease. Next were similar items needed for this adventure, but one particular thing stood out from all the other medical and homemade items in general. Folded and zipped up in a neat little plastic bag was a dangerous, reckless, fun-loving, and demented opiate called heroin. 2 sides of the coin played off another. The sides of good and evil displayed an equal power of conflicting anger and depression into the mare, hence the devilish opiate. 6 small little bags contained white powdered heroin that glowed rightfully inside. Twilight's cheeks flushed in a ruby-red fashion as she politely limited the space between the middle of her left thigh. This allowed her little bags of pure evil to rest while she delivered the goods with the magic of her horn. Twilight rhythmically followed the same practice as when she learned things when piecing together the tube around her elbow. She much preferred using her right leg as opposed to the left one. If she was ever caught one day, she had an excuse planned out to deter other ponies' thoughts of her wrongdoings. There had been times when she'd killed one too many veins, or drained others until they were dried up to look like fruits. That would force her to resort to injecting in her legs, hooves, neck, and sometimes smoking the stuff up. Twilight forgot she had one important step, and that always seemed to drift away from her head soon after nodding off in euphoric delight. That step was to heat up the drug first. She turned her magic off the tube and veered for the burning silver spoon on her lap. Her magic carefully opened the 2 bags and slowly trickled the lovely powder into the big spoon. The spoon was once a healthy utensil that served its valid purpose for sipping and taking big gulps of homemade soup that Spike and her always made on Sundays. Ever since her first experience with the drug, after going to a party, she relocated 2 spoons under her pillow and kept it hidden well for over a month until Spike found it while cleaning her bed for her. At first, Spike was unsure of what to think. It soon dawned on Twilight later that night of what had happened, and immediately interrogated Spike for the spoons. Twilight was foolish in this attempt, as she could have simply stolen another utensil, and perhaps hid it more confidently. She'd seen Spike resting himself comfortably on the love seat that they brought 2 months earlier. What's so special about the few spoons? And why are they all brown and black at the bottom? He asked. Nothing you need to worry about, Spike. Just tell me where they are. I need them for an experiment I've been working on, and... Oh, really? Well, why haven't you told me about this? He eagerly asked before jumping off his comfort zone. I realized you hadn't done any research in the last 3 weeks. And, lastly, what the Tartarus is so damned good about burned-up spoons that requires your impressive magic skills. Look, I can't say, okay? And next time, I'll include you in one of my magic sessions. Now, could you tell me where the spoons are? She huffed. Yeah, and why are they our soup spoons, Twilight? If you're mixing a batch of new remedies with Zikora's, then you should have definitely counted me in on it. Not now, Spike. Just give me the damn spoons. Twilight felt the itch creeping on. Well, fine. They're in the kitchen. And do mind on not including me in on your little fun nights with the girls again, all right? He half-joked. Twilight mumbled to herself before proceeding. Yeah, you can have fun with all of them if you like. I've got new friends in my head to play with. Wait, what? No, nothing. What I mean is, you can ask them whenever. I'm sure they'll say yes. She stuttered, with her tongue overlapping words before they were spoken coherently. Sweat was starting to boil down her forehead, and her mane became slightly damp. Twilight, you're lying, he said coolly. Look, Spike, I'll deal with you later, okay? I just need time for myself, and we can discuss this some other time. Go read a book or something unimportant in this house. She shrugged him off before her journey to the basement. Unimportant? Spike raised his head in confusion and cocked an eyebrow. You get what I mean. Now, where are they in the kitchen? She said aloud. Her breathing was steadily getting faster by the minute. What? Spike lost track of where the conversation was heading. The spoons. The fuck? Spoons, okay? Where are the spoons? She stammered. Same place they've always been. And stop acting weird, he told her. Duly noted. Then she beamed through the kitchen and wasn't seen again for the whole night.